The year is 2013. You're walking back home with your friend, and he says he wants to show you a video because he thinks you might like it. The internet is bad, so you open the video in 4 different tabs, stopping each playback at a different spot, letting them all load simultaneously. When one part reaches the end of the buffer, you press play on the next. It's a story about 3 kids. The blind protagonist, Leo, his best female friend, G, and Gabriel, the new kid at their school. They live through casual teen adventures and slowly become closer. It's lighthearted and gently paced and rather grounded. You watch as Leo confesses that he might be in love with Gabriel. G questions what he means, and Leo says that he loves Gabriel like boyfriends love each other. But G has to rush home, and the conversation ends there. You hold your breath as Gabriel enters the room, and Leo thinks it's G instead, so he repeats his confession. And Gabriel kisses him, then runs off without saying a word. It's your last year of high school, and you've never had a real boyfriend. And you try not to think about why. Eu Não Quero Voltar Sozinho is a short live-action film released in 2011 going over the lives of 3 high school students as one of them realizes he might be in love with his friend of the same gender. In 2014, it was transformed into a feature-length film casting the same actors, called, very confusingly, Hoje Eu Quero Voltar Sozinho, or The Way He Looks, as it was called in the English releases. Instead of it being a sequel to the short film, it's more of a reimagining, taking the same base premise but telling it over the course of a longer span of time, involving more complex scenarios, characters, and deepening the exploration of its core themes. It deals with issues of disability, jealousy, friendship, sexuality, and queer romance, and chooses to do so in a manner that is lighthearted and soft when it needs to be, and heavier when the story calls for it. The movie had a limited international release when compared to major American studio productions, but it was rather extensive for Brazilian media, and it ran for and won a staggering amount of awards. And it's also really good. So I want to talk about it. So hop on a bike with your new best friend that you might have a crush on and follow me, because I want to talk about the way he looks. Leo and G are 2 best friends who are chilling by the pool talking about how school is about to start again. Leo isn't looking forward to the homework and the classes, especially with how he had a great time spending his vacations sleeping and listening to music. But G is actually excited for it, wondering about the great dramas and loves that their new high school year might bring. With that, they end up discussing their romance expectations a little. G doesn't like any of the boys from her class, finding them ugly and rude, but she also questions why Leo hasn't kissed anyone. She says he might as well kiss any girl at this point just to get it over with, but Leo says that's not how he wants his first kiss to happen. This opening scene is great at establishing a few key elements. 1. Discussions of romance and kissing. This is a lovey-dovey teen drama movie, make no mistake. Talking about those things is a bit of a given. 2. Leo has yet to live a great romance. More than that, he has yet to kiss anyone, and he is a boy in high school, which, in the Brazilian teen hierarchy of arbitrary life milestones, places him at the bottom of the social pyramid. 3. G and Leo are really close, and you might even make the argument that she's in love with Leo a little bit. She trash talks girls who might be interested in him, rolls her eyes when he starts actually considering kissing them, and seems reluctant to date any other boy from her class. 4, and this is kind of a big one, Leo is blind. This is important not only because disability is a huge theme for the movie, but also so that you can appreciate a later scene, with the introduction of Gabriel. When the new kid enters the school, we shift to Leo's perspective, but not through his eyes. Instead, we zoom in on his ears, as he listens to the door opening and hears Gabriel's voice for the first time. There are no other sounds, and even when the camera shifts back into focus, the boy is the only thing we see. It is as though, as soon as Gabriel is introduced, he has already become Leo's entire world. Which is the gayest thing I have ever seen, I swear to Christ. Okay, so the movie is gay, but we'll get into that later. First, we gotta deal with Leo's search for independence. Leo is blind, and the people who care about him are extremely protective of him. His childhood friend G walks him home every day, unlocks the door for him, kisses him on his cheek, pets his hair, sits next to him in school, and basically leaves no space for anyone else in his life. Leo does appreciate her friendship, but it's clear that he might be starting to strive for other things. His mother is no better. She dreads leaving him home on his own, dotes on him, freaks out whenever he's late from school, asks him to call her throughout the day, butts in whenever he's hanging out with his friends at home, and won't leave him out of her sight. Leo has been cultivating the dream of leaving on an exchange student program, and even drags G to an agency to learn more about it. He yearns to go to a place where nobody knows him, and so he will get a chance to be truly himself, free from the expectations that others already have regarding him. The thing is, Leo has no problem with being blind. He's been that way since he was born, he's lucky enough to live with a family who can afford him certain aids, such as his cane and a Braille typewriter, and he's adapted his life nicely to his disability, all things considered. The issue comes when he has to deal with other people. He doesn't want to be treated differently just because he is blind, but that's all everyone ever does. There's this great scene where Leo's mom is yelling at him because he took a detour walking home without telling his parents and was late for dinner. And Leo argues that none of his classmates' moms would be that upset over something like this happening, to which his mother replies,
"Você sabe que é diferente? Por que tem que ser diferente, mãe? Por que você não tenta fazer ser igual?"
Which greatly expresses how Leo feels about his own disability. In the world we live in, it often falls upon the shoulders of the disabled person to adapt in order to live in a world made for abled people. But Leo questions why he has to be the one to change. Why can't the rest of the world bend to his needs when he spends so much of his life bending to everyone else's? Why does the effort always have to come from himself? Leo's struggles with his disability are intrinsically tied to his experiences with teenagehood. At a later point in the movie, his father tells him that it's rather natural for him to want to break free from his parents and gain more independence. But going to a different country just to escape the situation is a very extreme solution, a point to which Leo concedes. Leo doesn't actually crave absolute distance from everyone who loves him. He just wants to be seen as something other than the image of the helpless blind kid everyone built up in their minds. In that sense, a part of his independence journey is learning that while he can't change the way other people see him, he can't change the fact that he is blind, and this will always affect how the world interacts with him and vice versa. The one person who seems to be an exception to this negativity is Gabriel. You've been watching Glee with your family. A friend lent you the DVDs. One night, you're busy doing something else, so your mom and your sister watch an episode without you. On the next day, you ask them to tell you what happened. Your sister reveals that Santana and Brittany are a couple, and your mom makes a comment that sticks with you. She says that the scene of them making out at the start of the episode was too strong. She doesn't outright say it, but it's implied that she thinks your 12-year-old sister shouldn't have seen that. You didn't see it. You really want to. You can't just ask to get the DVDs from the living room, that'd be too suspicious. So you go to YouTube and search for the scene there. Luckily, someone had posted it as part of a compilation. You watch as the two girls make out in the secrecy of a teenage bedroom. Thanks to your mother's comment, you're conditioned to think that the scene is strong. You try to see it as such. You can't. It makes you feel something, but it's not rejection. queer media always brings you a deep sense of elation. You try not to think about it. Gabriel is the new kid, and he's always forgetting that Leo is blind.
Você já viu aquele vídeo do gato? Que o gato entra na privada e... Desculpa.
He's constantly asking Leo if he has seen this or that, with no hint of irony. He guides him home, but forgets to warn Leo about the ledges and holes on the sidewalk. He genuinely forgets, and treats Leo as he would any other kid. You can see how much Leo appreciates that. Gabriel isn't coddling him or even bullying him. He's being sincere. And while everyone else expects Leo to either bend to their society or to be helpless forever, Gabriel changes the way he does things so that Leo can experience them too. He invites Leo to go to the movies and then narrates the visuals to Leo so that he can follow the story along. He tries explaining an eclipse to Leo, but sees that he is having trouble visualizing it, so he improvises a model out of rocks in the grass and describes it in a more tactile way. Leo really likes classical composers, so Gabriel shows him his favorite band, so that they can enjoy music together and share an interest. And just the sheer, sweet romance of it all. They sneak out together to watch a lunar eclipse, even if Leo can't see it happening. He just wants to be there with Gabriel. They dance together in Leo's room. They pair up to complete a project for school, meaning they have to spend endless afternoons together, sharing a desk and sitting side by side. Oh my! And the blindness thing? Perfect excuse for flirting. Since sight is out of the question, everything becomes much more dependent on touch. Gabriel starts walking Leo home, so Leo holds onto his arm. Leo tries teaching Gabriel how to read Braille, so they have to hold hands as Leo guides Gabriel's fingers over the book. It's delicious. Their classmates bully them about it. They bully Leo a lot in general. Him being blind is not that much of an issue, even though it doesn't go unnoticed. The real problem is that he hasn't kissed anyone. During a party, they pressure him into playing Spin the Bottle with the purpose of getting him to kiss someone for the first time. His friends are having a drunk conversation in the bathroom, so they're not there to see it happen. The bullies manipulate the game so that Leo is set to make out with some girl. But when the two teens have to come together in the middle of the circle, they fetch a dog and try to make Leo kiss it. You have your first kiss when you're 12 years old. Every girl has been getting a crush on a boy. You figure you should get one too. Your classmates choose a boy for you. They say you'd be great together. Everyone's been teasing you over how you haven't kissed anyone yet, so you just roll with it. Might as well get it done. They lock the two of you in a room together. Someone shoves their foot on the door so you can't open it until it's done. They're watching you from behind the classroom windows like you're some sort of spectacle. You kiss him. It's underwhelming. You try not to think about it. Leo's friend G saves him at the last moment, but Leo couldn't see that he was about to kiss a dog, and thinks that G was keeping him from having his first kiss, so he yells at her. Their friendship had already been kind of rocky ever since Gabriel joined their friend group, because now Leo had been spending a lot more time with him as just the two of them, and G had been feeling left out. Seeing her friend get mad at her when she had just saved him from public humiliation was too much for her, and she storms off without telling him what was going on. Gabriel finds him, and Leo argues that apparently no one wants him to kiss anyone, and Gabriel proves him wrong by kissing him, then running off into the night. There's a type of criticism reserved for media like this. Movies and series where everything is just a little too cutesy. Conflicts are resolved in the most romantic way possible, bullies never go too far and are properly punished for their deeds, a huge portion of the cast is gay, and those who aren't are always incredibly supportive. It is said that media like this is not realistic enough. that in real life, the horrors that queer teens face are much more scarring, metaphorically and literally, often involving comments that become threats that become physical violence. Not only that, the way everything is portrayed in these shows is supposedly extremely vanilla. Kissing and hand-holding are the heights of eroticism. Nothing ever goes on below the belt, and if it does, it's treated as a joke. Those critics see these portrayals as reductive, disappointing, or problematic. Whenever a gay character appears on screen, you don't say anything. You just watch your mother's face. Your dad's always silent about it, but he's silent about most things. Your mom's more of an open book. If you watch her closely, maybe you can read her. Is she disgusted? Angry? Surprised? When she talks about the episode, does she discuss the characters with empathy? Should we hide them from your sister too? When the movie Love, Simon was released, there were news articles about how kids were watching the film with their parents and then coming out themselves. You ask your sister if maybe you can arrange something like that, and she says, sure, but you never do it. Maybe it's best not to think about it. While criticisms like that can be valid, I feel like they often shield us from engaging with media in an open and sincere way. And in any case, even though I might be defending this movie from imaginary strawmen, I feel like the film does tackle more quote-unquote adult subjects, mostly in the way it doesn't play down its eroticism. I mention this because this is actually an integral part of the film. Leo's struggles for independence are tied to his adolescence, and it also manifests in the way that he has to break out of gendered expectations of romance and sex and allow himself to pursue a relationship with another man. Much like everyone forces him into a role of helplessness and subservience because he is blind and because he is a minor, he is also pushed into a place of heterosexuality just because he is a guy. At the start of the movie, Ji says Leo should kiss any girl instead of anyone. When they're playing Spin the Bottle, the bullies don't throw homophobia into the mix by forcing him to kiss a guy, mostly because they hadn't even considered it. Leo is a man, so of course he would be straight. The humiliation comes from making him kiss a dog thinking it's a girl, not because any boys were involved. Is this realistic? Well, it obviously won't speak for the experiences of every queer kid on the planet, but yeah, it kind of is. As a Brazilian who was once a teen in school, and as a teacher who now spends a lot of her time working with Brazilian teens in school, this is the way kids think and act, at least in my corner of the country, which just so happens to coincide with the one the characters in the movie inhabit. It has been improving over time, but some bad habits are hard to break. The emancipation that Leo so desperately desires comes in part from how he explores his sexuality. He doesn't want to be seen as different, but he comes to find that he is, and it's not through a lens of self-hatred or repression, but empowerment. In his erotic scenarios, he gets to be with whomever he wants, even if he has to wrestle them away from other romantic rivals. Instead of running to another country and leaving his friends and family behind, his plans start featuring the idea of staying and forging a connection with this boy that he finds himself attracted to. You do come out at some point, and it's okay. Your parents accept you and kind of suspected it already. You find that just because your mom said something weird years ago, it doesn't mean she couldn't change her mind. And maybe those other queer stories she's experienced helped her more than you imagine. You know, not everybody is that lucky, but it won't change the fact that you are, and you're grateful for that. It's easy to forget, but it's nice to think about. The ending is a happy one, which can seem a little obvious, but I'm so glad it turned out this way. Friendships are mended, parents and child see eye to eye, confessions are made. Leo has to gently touch Gabriel's face to see where his mouth is before kissing him, and I'm having a stroke! In fact, the last scene of the movie is utterly brilliant. At an earlier point in the story, where the two boys were just getting to know each other, Leo makes a joke about how him learning to ride a bike is impossible. Gabriel then gives him a ride on his bike, symbolically showing how far he is willing to go for Leo. If it was up to him, he would bend the universe to his will and make the impossible happen. And by the end of the movie, it happens. Gabriel teaches Leo how to ride a bicycle. He did it! What Leo thought could never happen is finally taking place, all because of Gabriel. It's about a bike, but it's also about his independence, of him going further than he ever thought he could, of him finding his place in the world and becoming the man he's always dreamed of being. And he wouldn't have been able to do it if not for the one he now calls his boyfriend. The way he looks is a thoughtful, mindful, and wonderful movie. It treats its subject matter with reverence and is kind to its characters in a way that real people often aren't. It was groundbreaking for me when I watched it, and I'm sure it will continue to touch the hearts of many other viewers as time goes on. Especially because you're all going to watch this movie after you're done with this video. Go on, it's not hard to find if you know where to look. Haha. It's Pride Month. Treat yourself. Watch something good. Heal your soul. We all deserve a happier ending. Thank you for watching. Well, hello there. It was very nice of you to watch this video. Special thanks to my beautiful patrons for making videos like these possible. You guys are the bicycle ride that signals my emancipation. If you have enjoyed the video, you can also help me out by clicking the like button, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell too. You can also follow me on a bunch of different places, such as Blue Sky, the website formerly known as Twitter, and my second channel. The link to all of those things will be in the description. Share this video with your friends if you're feeling extra generous. Feel free to leave a comment down below, especially if it is about how much you love the way he looks. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
É que o último lugar que eu quero ir é numa festa cheia de gente da nossa sala.
Mas pensa, pode ser divertido, sabe? As pessoas